Hi everyone, today's card is going to be a slimline card. So this is Tufty Friends Kitten, this beautiful cat with the daffodil, quite a nice size, and I'm going to choose one of the sentiments out of there as well. So I'll pop that to one side. I've got myself a piece of white cardstock, and this measures 8 inches in width and 8 inches in depth, folded in half and scored down the middle. My first matte layer is 3 14/8 by 7 14/8. I wanted a narrower border, and I took this from the Mix and Match Botanical Bloom paper pad, and I'm sure this came from the range. So that's the paper pad that I used. I've got myself a piece of white cardstock which I'm going to be working on, which is 3.5 by 7.5. I've taken out some watercolor pens. Now these watercolor pens are from Sentimentally Yours. There's 4 sets. I've got all 4 sets, and I've just taken out the colored pens that I want to use. With these pens, they're not numbered or named, so basically you just need to take a bit of cardstock, and when you find the color that you want, then you know that's the color you want to use, and a watercolor brush. And I've also took in the ice spruce in the Distress Oxides. So that's the products that I'm going to be using. So the first thing I'm going to do is stamp my image. If I take in my stamping platform, get my cardstock down. As you see, this is quite a nice big stamp. Now this is slightly wider than the piece of cardstock, so I'm just going to lay that down, bring these magnets a bit closer, pick up that stamp. Now I am using the VersaFine Onyx Black for this, as I'm using watercolor pens. If you were using alcohol markers, you'd be better off using Memento ink, or even Stays On is a nice black ink, but I don't use that very often. And give that a nice press down. And there's our image. I do want that slightly darker, so I am going to go in again. So there's our stamped image. Give this stamp a nice clean off. We can pop that straight back on its carrier sheet. Move those magnets. Pop that back. Okay, so we've taken our main image, chosen this more of a gingery brown colour for the cat, which is this one. And although these are watercolour pens, I'm not using water at the moment. I'm just going to go straight in, and in small circular movements I'm going to go all across his tail. Try and avoid going over the lines because I'm not cutting this out. And then I would choose sections, so I would do his feet next, and then I would most probably come around and do this side of his body. So in small circular movements, so that I know that's done. Then I would come down this side of his body. And his tufty hands, then we can go over his top part of his body. So can you see I'm going around in circular movements, and you get a nice softer look doing it that way. Right, for his face, we're going to do exactly the same again. So go around his mouth, in between his nose, around his nose, and across. We're going to go around his eyes. You can always turn your work around. I'm going to come right up to his head. I'm going to leave a white patch in his ears. Like so. So if you wanted to, that's your cat coloured in. You could actually leave that exactly as it is. But if you want to go in slightly darker, make it look like we've got some shade going on, just pick out some areas where you think it would be darker and go over that again. So we're going to go all the way down around the back, just like so. We're going to go over his feet. Going to come around the back of his tail and across the top of his tail. So there would be a tiny bit darker on his crease of his belly. Around his arms, just there under his neck. This side of his face, I think we'll do darker. And I don't know if I want to do any more there, so that's absolutely fine. This side of his ear would be darker than the outside, and I think this one would be darker than that side. So that's basically it. That's all I'm going to do for that one. Now if you wanted to blend that out a little bit more, just pop down a tiny bit of water, not too much. Pick some water up with your brush, get rid of a lot of that, and then just very gently go over this. Try not to go too close to the edge, because that water will still keep moving and it might go outside of the lines, and eventually that will just soften those darker patches into the lighter patches. So we don't want too much water. We're not soaking the cardstock. This is not watercolor cardstock. This is just regular 300 GSM. Can you see how that's already changed the look of that by adding just a layer of water over the top, and it's actually now starting to make those darker ones, darker shades blend in with the lighter shades. Just do a bit on his tail. So that's all I want to do to the cat. Now if I take in the lightest of the two yellows, which I think is not that one, I think it's this one. Yep. And I'm going to do exactly the same again. I'm going to go all the way over this daffodil, and I'm going to do one petal at a time. Circular movements all the way around. I've gone over the edge there, never mind. And then we're going to do all the way inside. So there's our daffodil. So that's the first colour down. Now I've taken a different shade, a dark, slightly darker one. I'm going to go in the centre of the stem of the trumpet, and I'm going to just draw out some colour on the petals. And can you see I'm not overly worrying. I've missed a tiny bit there, but when I go over this with a tiny bit of water in a minute, that will pull that in. And then just all around those. So that's how easy that is to colour in. Back in with my watercolour pen, knock off and just go over the image. Try not to get too close to the ink lines, because if it goes over the edge, it'll be spoiled. And there we go, there's our daffodil. So that's really quite easy. Now the next colour would be the stalk. So I'm going to come down the stalk. I'm going to come around. And then we're going to do, now I'm doing flicking movements this time rather than circular movements. I'm going to come down this bit and then around that last bit. Now where it's darker, it would be under here, so we'll put a tiny bit more under there. It would potentially be darker just underneath his paws, and it would be darker just at the top there. We've also got the grass, so all I'm going to do with this is go all the way along in a circular movement all the way along the bottom, and we're just going to drag this up like so. And there's our grass. Now, if I pop a tiny bit down, take my water brush and water that down a little bit. I know his eyes are green, but I don't want them to be a deep green. We're just gonna get them a tiny bit green. And then we could go around this base of the cat and just have a few more of those stems of grass. So that's all I want to do to that. I'm going to take back in my watercolour brush. I'm going to knock that off a little bit, and I'm just going to go down this stem, leaf, and try and tie that in a bit better. So there's our cat almost done. I'm going to take in a very light pink. So again with my piece of card, and I'm just going to pop some pink inside his ears like so. I'm actually going to make his mouth pink as well with a black water pen. I'm going to do his nose. I'm going to leave that tiny dot, and this looks like a pendant of some sort. I don't know what it is. So I'm just going to go down there, along there, and down there. And that's my cat finished. How easy was that? Right, let's pop those pens back where they belong. So that's the cat finished, and I think that looks absolutely beautiful. Now what I would like to do with this is take in the iced spruce and brush. What I'm going to do is going to come off of the edge and I'm going to go all the way around my image. Try and go around the daffodil. Just blend that in slightly. All we're doing is giving ourselves an edge to our design. So again on this side. Right down to the grass. Just slightly fading that away as we go in. There we go, fading that in. Make that look quite nice and soft. So that's where we are with this now. Taking a cloth and give that a wipe down. Now this one I'm going to glue to my pattern piece. So nice bit of glue all across the back. And in the middle. I'm going to get that nicely lined up. I'm going to turn that over and give that a really nice press on the back. And then this one is going to sit on top of our card. I'm going to pop this one up with double-sided foam tape. So if we run a nice line of foam tape, as always, all around the edges. Give that a really nice burnish. When I pop this one on, I need to see, so it's very minimal. Taking my pokey tool, I am going to remove these backings halfway. I haven't got an awful lot of area to play with. I'm going to take that centre one off completely. Turn this over. And if I get this up to the edge, I get that the same top and bottom, that should then, and around the edge, hopefully that is square. You can remove these tapes. Perfect. So that's where we are with this card at the moment. So the sentiments that we've got in here, the one I thought I liked was have a perfect day, which is this one. So have a perfect day, the appropriate stamping block. And I'm going to ink this up on some white cardstock. Got a piece of scrap white cardstock there. again with the VersaFine Onyx Black. Have a perfect day. Beautiful. Give that one a quick clean off. I'm going to take in my paper trimmer for this, and I'm going to get this as close as possible. So roughly there. So this is going to be quite a tiny lovely. And then I would like to back this sentiment. Tiny bit of glue on the back of there. I'll get this one up in the corner. And then we can fussy cut this one out. And this one is going to sit on an angle just there. Or should we have it straight? No, I think we'll have it on an angle. I'll pop that one down with some double-sided foam tape. Take the backings off of that one. And I am going to pop this one just on an angle roughly there. So that's where we are at the moment. Now within this set, we've got a butterfly. So let's see what the butterfly stamp's like. Pick that one up. Ink up that butterfly. It is rather beautiful. And I'm just trying to think what colour I would like to colour the butterfly in. I think I'm going to do it in a light blue. So I'm just going to go all the way over this in a pretty light blue colour. See what I think that looks like up on top. I think that will be fine. And this one I need to fussy cut out. I actually think that would look fine. So no butterflies were harmed in the making. So I just want this on 1/2, and that is going to sit just there. How pretty is that? And on the inside, I'm going to put, I think we'll have happy birthday actually. So that is just the right size. Ink that one up. Get cardstock nice and straight. Happy birthday. Just going to bring this lighter colour in to meet with the sentiment. What I'm trying to do now is just get rid of as much of this white as I can. And I'm actually going to go over that sentiment as well. There we go. We are going to leave a little bit of white, but we're just blending that all in and making that look just a little bit better. Yes. How beautiful is that? Well, I hope you enjoyed my little video. I enjoyed making this one. I don't very often do watercolouring. I love it, but I don't get to do it very often. We could just finish off that necklacey thing he's got there and just pop some red there. Looks like it wasn't finished. I hope you enjoyed my little video. Thank you for watching. It's another quick one today. And until the next time, bye for now.